Welcome to Learn Commerce PU online classes. Don't forget to like our video and subscribe our YouTube channel for all the updates.
Hello students, welcome to second PUC accountancy online classes. In previous class I was explaining about the accounting procedure of not-for-profit organizations. We have covered what is the meaning of not-for-profit organization, what are their special features, then what are the accounts they maintain. What are the final accounts that are prepared in case of not-for-profit organizations. Like we prepare trading account, profit and loss account and balance sheet in trading concerns. In case of not-for-profit organizations, we prepare receipts and payments account, which is similar to cash book or cash account. We enter all the receipts on the left hand side and all the payments on the right hand side. It will have opening and closing balances. Opening balance of cash in hand or cash at bank and closing balance of cash in hand and cash at bank. So like that. So that is we have learnt about the meaning of receipts and payments account, income and expenditure account, isn't it? Then what is capital fund? What is capital fund? The difference between the total assets and total liabilities of a not-for-profit organization is called capital fund. In case of trading concerns, it is capital account, right? In case of sole trader, it is capital account. In case of not-for-profit organization, it is called capital fund. And all capitalized receipts are added to this fund, including the current year, that is a surplus, isn't it? So let us take up receipts and payments account and income and expenditure account in detail. And again we have studied about the meaning of capital and revenue, isn't it? Capital receipts, capital expenditure, revenue receipts, revenue expenditure. I gave example also regarding how to treat an item. What is the nature of capital receipt? What is the nature of capital payment? Isn't it? That also we have dealt with. And what is the nature of revenue receipt and what is the nature of revenue payment? That also we have studied. Correct. Now let me take up receipts and payments account. What is receipts and payments account? Receipts and payments account. No doubt, receipts and payments. So on the left hand side we will write receipts and on the payment side we will enter all the payments. The difference between the total receipts and total payments always will be the final balance of cash or bank or both. Sometimes they will have both cash and bank. In that case, by balance carried down, we will write there cash bank. That is cash in hand and cash at bank. That is the final balance. At the beginning we will write to balance brought down cash bank. That is the opening balance of cash in hand and cash at bank. So receipts and payments account, it is a summary of cash receipts and cash payments. Remember, we are not concerned about to which year it belongs, but we are concerned about whether it is received or not. That's all. If it is received, we will enter. If it is not received, we will not enter. If it is paid, we will enter. If it is not paid, we will not enter. Whether it belongs to current year, previous year or not next year, we are not concerned about it. When we get cash, we will record. So that is the rule. So we write it on cash basis and not on accrual basis. Accrual basis means whether it belongs to current year or not, whether it is received or not is immaterial for us. Whether it belongs to current year or not, we will concerned about that. If it is belonging to current year, whether it is received or not, we will take into consideration. Suppose salary paid is 4,000 and outstanding salary is 500, we will take 4,500 as the total salary for the current year, in which 4,000 is received in cash, paid in cash, and 500 rupees is supposed to be payable, is outstanding expense, isn't it? So we are not concerned about whether it is received or not, we are concerned about whether it belongs to current year or not, and both these belongs to current year. For 4,000 we have paid and 500 rupees yet to be paid, it is pending, outstanding. So we will consider both these amount and we will say total salary for the year is 4,500. This is called accrual basis of accounting. Accrual basis of accounting, where if it is accrued we will include, if it is not then we will not include. That is what the rule of the accrual basis concept. You have studied in first year regarding, that is, concepts, different concepts, isn't it? So this is accrual basis. And receipts and payments account, there we are not concerned about whether it belongs to current year or not. We have received, suppose, 4,000 rupees as a subscription for the current year, and 500 subscriptions are yet to be received. Total subscription for the year is 4,500. But in case of receipts and payments account, we will record only 4,000 and not 500. 500 will be neglected because it is not received. It is supposed to be received. It is receivable, isn't it? We are supposed to receive it. So when it is not received, we will not record here because we write receipts and payments account on cash basis. When it is received, we will enter whether it belongs to last year, next year. Suppose 500 rupees of last year is also received. 4,000 of current year, 500 of last year is received. 500 of current year is outstanding, pending to be received, isn't it? So what we will do is we will include these two items, received related to last year and received related to current year, and outstanding will be neglected because we are concerned about amount received and not accrued. So this is called cash basis. Whether it belongs to current year, previous year or next year, we are not concerned about that. When we receive it, we will record. When we make payment, we will record. So that is the rule of receipts and payments. While writing the receipts and payments account, it is like a cash book or cash account. Remember. Clear? Yes. Now let us know about income and expenditure account. Income and expenditure account. It is an account which includes the receipts, that's income received and expenses paid. Income received and expenses paid. So whatever amount we receive or which is receivable, isn't it, that is accrued, all these will be taken into consideration because income and expenditure account is written on accrual basis of accounting. Accrual basis of accounting and not cash basis of accounting. Here we are concerned about whether the expense or income relates to current year or not. That is our criteria. If it belongs to current year, whether it is received or not or paid or not, we are not concerned. Our criteria is whether it belongs to current year. Yes, then we will include. If it belongs to last year or next year, we will deduct. So while preparing income and expenditure account, make sure that you are concerned only about current year. If it belongs to current year, add. If it belongs to next year, deduct. If it belongs to previous year, deduct. That is what the rule is. So make sure of this rule. So we write income and expenditure account. We prepare income and expenditure on the basis of accrual concept. So accrual basis concept. Clear? Yes. Now, let us make a clear distinction between receipts and payments account and income and expenditure account, so that we will come to know the actual meaning, a clear meaning of receipts and payments account and income and expenditure account. So, we will bifurcate this and we will analyze, we will try to make a clear distinction between the two. Clear? Yes. Receipts and payments account on one side and income and expenditure account on the other side. Receipts and payments account, income and expenditure account, income and expenditure account. Basis of distinction, first one is nature of account, what type of account it is. Nature of account, receipts and payments account, it is similar to cash book. It is similar to cash book or cash account, cash book. And income and expenditure account, it is similar to profit and loss account, profit and loss account. See, while preparing cash book, we are concerned only about cash receipts and cash payments, am I correct? Yes, we will record all the amount received on the debit side of cash book and we will enter all the cash payments on the credit side of cash book. Similarly, in case of income and expenditure account, that is profit and loss account, profit and loss account, we are concerned about whether it belongs to current year or not. Salary, we will record the amount in inner column. Add outstanding of current year, didn't pay, isn't it? But we are including it because it belongs to current year. Less salary of last year paid during current year, deduct, not belonging to current year, isn't it? Less, this minus salary paid in advance for the next year, which is not belonging to current year, so deduct, isn't it? That is what we do in case of profit and loss. So, the very nature of profit and loss account and income and expenditure account both are one and the same. And the very nature of receipts and payments account and cash book both are one and the same. Both are one and the same. So, make sure of it. Then, second one is nature of items. Nature of items. Nature of items. What type of items are included? Both capital and revenue. Here, both capital and revenue. Here, only revenue. Revenue items. I made a clear distinction between capital and revenue in previous class. Capital means which is long term in nature, which gives benefit to the concerned for a longer period of time. If it is an expenditure, if it is receipt, again it is not received every day. That is recurring and non-recurring nature of the item that itself decides whether it is capital or revenue. Non-recurring, not repetitive, isn't it? That is capital. Repetitive or gives short-term benefit, isn't it? That is revenue. So here we record only revenue items, revenue receipts and revenue payments. That is like salary, rent, honorarium, stationery expenses, telephone bill, isn't it? All these are repetitive in nature. Every month we have to pay, or the expenses that we incur will give us short-term benefit and not long-term benefit. Correct? So that is the very nature of the revenue items. Capital means it is, first thing is that it is non-repetitive in nature. It will not occur again and again. It will not come again and again, isn't it? And it gives long-term benefit to the business concern. Like if you purchase ceiling fan, if you purchase furniture, isn't it? If you purchase a machine, that will give long-term benefit to the business concern. It can be used for a period of more than 1 year. Maybe 5 years, 10 years, can't say. You purchase a land, you can use it till you alive, isn't it? Then your son, grandson, maybe great grandson, and many, that is generation, can use that land. So gives long-term benefit to the concern, that's business concern or non-trading concern, isn't it? So that is called capital expenditure. If it is received, capital receipt. If it is paid, capital expenditure. So revenue items are only included over there in case of income and expenditure account. So while preparing income and expenditure account, capital items are not required for us. We have to simply neglect capital items. Only we have to take revenue items, remember. Then period. Remember, in case of receipts and payments account, we are not concerned about the period. Particular period is not required for us. We are concerned only whether the cash is received or not, or paid or not. We are not concerned about which year it belongs, to which year it pertains. Whether it belongs to current year, previous year or next year, we are not concerned about this. We record all the items related to all years, different years, like previous year, next year or current year or succeeding year, isn't it? So all years are taken into consideration. Here only related to current year. Current year. Only current year items are included here. We are not concerned about previous year and next year items. I already made it very clear by giving an example of salaries, isn't it? So make sure of it. Then debit side. Debit side of receipts and payments account and income and expenditure account. What it includes? On the debit side of receipts and payments account, all cash receipts. Cash receipts are recorded on the debit side or left hand side. And all income and expenditure account, on the debit side, all expenditures are recorded. All expenditures of revenue nature, remember, only revenue nature expenditures are recorded on the debit side. So here the students go wrong. While preparing income and expenditure account, they will write income expenditure because the name is income and expenditure account. It is not expenditure and income account, isn't it? So students will get confused, and on the debit side they will record all the incomes, and on the credit side they will enter all the expenditures. Here they will enter all the incomes, and on the right hand side they will enter all the expenditures, and they will get a big zero in board exam. Be careful about this, friends. So make sure expenditure and income. On the debit side, expenditure; on the credit side, income. That is how we record in the books of accounts. Then next one is credit side. What we record on the credit side? On the credit side, we will record all payments. Cash payments are recorded. Cash receipts here, cash payments are recorded on the credit side of receipts and payments account. And in case of income and expenditure account, all revenue, that is incomes, all revenues are entered. There is revenue nature items are recorded on the credit side because it is income side. Credit side always will be income side in case of income and expenditure account. Then next one is depreciation. Whether we include depreciation in both? No, we are not concerned about depreciation in case of receipts and payments account, because we are concerned only about cash items, not non-cash items. Non-cash items are not recorded in receipts and payments account. Like depreciation, there will be decrease in the value of asset. Actually, there is a loss, but still we are not recording it because it is not of cash nature. So depreciation is not entered in receipts and payments account. But in case of income and expenditure account, depreciation is recorded. Depreciation is taken into consideration while preparing income and expenditure account. Remember. Then opening balance. Opening balance. Opening balance in case of receipt payments account. Opening balance represents opening balance of cash in hand or cash at a bank. That is the amount that is there in the cash box of the concern, either in the form of cash in cash box or cash in bank account, right? So cash in hand or cash at a bank, the opening balance suggests to balance brought down. But remember friends, make it very sure, make a note of this. In case of a newly started concern, there will not be opening balance of receipts and payments account, because it has started this year, during this year, so no question of last year's balance. So there will not be opening balance in case of newly started concerns in their receipts and payments account. No opening balance will be there. So don't get confused. Opening balance is not given in the problem. Don't jump into conclusion like that. Clear? Yes. Then here opening balance, no opening balance will be there. There will not be any opening balances because we are not carrying down the balance of income and expenditure account. Every year, whether there is surplus or deficit. Remember, surplus means if the debit side total is shorter, debit side total is shorter than the credit side total. Credit side total is more than the debit side. It is called, in case of trading concern, we call it as profit, net profit, isn't it? But here we call it as surplus. Surplus means excess of income over expenditure. On the debit side we record expenditures, I told you, and on the credit side we record incomes. So the difference between the total of debit side and credit side, if debit side total is greater than the total of credit side, that implies there is surplus. We call it as surplus or excess of income over expenditure. Excess of income over expenditure. That means income is more than the expenditure. Very simple. Clear? If the debit side total is greater than the total of credit side total is lesser than the debit side total, that means income is lesser than the expenditure, which implies deficit. We call it as deficit. Remember, deficit. So if there is a shortage of total, this income is lesser than the expenditure is more than the income, that is nothing but deficit or excess of expenditure over income. Remember, excess of expenditure over income, because the total of expenditure is more than the total of the income. So that is about the final balance in case of receipts and payments, that's income and expenditure account. So opening balance over closing balance. Now closing balance, I already told you, in case of receipts and payments account, yes, there will be closing balance. Here there will be opening balance, but here there will not be closing balance. So we are not carrying down the balance of income and expenditure account, so there will not be closing balance. Whatever balance we have, whatever the difference, will immediately transfer it to what? Capital fund. It will be added to capital fund on the liability side of the balance sheet. Opening balance, then add surplus, add capitalized receipts. Like that we will move on. While solving the problem, 12 marks problem, we will come to know regarding this. Clear? Yes. Now, these are the 8 distinction points between receipts and payments account and income and expenditure account. From examination point of view, you need not remember all the points. You read these things just to understand the concept in a clear way. Clear. But from examination point of view, they will ask you maximum 2 points of distinctions. Give any 2 distinctions between receipts and payments account and income and expenditure account. You should write any 2 points. Any 2 points you can select. No need that is you should select the first 2 points only. No, it's not like that. They will not ask you such questions also. Clear? So make sure that you will answer to the question with the 2 points. It will be asked for maximum of 2 marks. No 6 marks 6 marks problems will be asked from this chapter. So you will not get any 6 marks question, theory question. Clear? Yes. Now let us move on to the next part. Why books of accounts are to be maintained? Why we should maintain books of accounts? Correct? Yes. Why we should maintain books of accounts? Because first one is to minimize the misappropriation, to avoid or minimize misappropriation. What misappropriation? Misappropriation of assets, isn't it? Or cash, especially cash. It's very difficult to misappropriate machines or furniture, all these things. Takes time, isn't it? But cash easily can be misappropriated. So to avoid such misappropriation, we have to prepare books of accounts so that we will come to know how much cash balance is lying with us, lying in the not-for-profit organization. Correct? So for that reason, we have to prepare books of accounts. Then second one is to satisfy the legal requirement. Not-for-profit organizations, they have to submit their final accounts to the if it is a trust, if it is society, isn't it? Cooperative society or like that, then registrar of societies is there. We have to submit our returns to that registrar, isn't it? For every concern there will be registrars, so we have to submit our final accounts to them for that, and also to receive grants, subsidies or any other that is incentives from the government. Final accounts must be submitted to the concerned authorities. Then only they will certify that yes, the concern deserves the amount or subsidy or grants. All these things they will recommend, and on the basis of that we will receive subsidies, grants or any other facilities from the government. So for that reason we have to, for these reasons we have to maintain books of accounts. And to know, third one is to know the income and expenditure of the year, particular year. We should prepare books of accounts, isn't it? To know the incomes and expenditures of the year, we have to prepare books of accounts. So these are 3 reasons why we need to prepare books of accounts. We have to maintain books of accounts. And what are the books of accounts that are maintained by not-for-profit organization? If we make a list, then first one is cash book. As I already told you, we will prepare receipts and payments account, which is as good as the cash book. Then second one is journal. We will maintain journal. Journal is maintained to enter non-cash items like bad debts, depreciation. I already told you depreciation is not included in the receipts and payments account. So to include those things, we have to pass journal entries. For that we will prepare maintain journal. Then ledger is also maintained to record some accounts. Some accounts are maintained like incomes and expenses, assets and liabilities. These are maintained. These accounts are maintained. Then last one is register of members. Register of members. See, register of members means a register will be kept in the not-for-profit organization to maintain the names of people who have joined as members to the concern. So all the members whose names appears, or the people whose names appears in the register of members, will only be the legal members of that is not for profit organization. So they will record everything, that is whenever a new entrant comes and joins the not for profit organization, they will enter his or her name in that register, and once the name is entered in that register, then only the person will be legally member of that not for profit organization. Till the name of that person is entered in the register of members, the person will not be the member of not for profit organization. He is not the member of not for profit organization. Be careful about this. Clear? So the register of members means the details of the people who have joined the organization as the members. So that is about the books of account that are maintained. They may ask you what are the books of accounts that are maintained by a mention any two books of accounts maintained by not for profit organization. You should write cash book, journal, ledger, like that. Any two you have to write. Clear? Then now moving on to next part, that is capital and revenue. What is capital, what is revenue? I made it very clear, and I made a distinction between capital receipts and capital payments, isn't it? Capital, after that there are two parts, capital receipts and capital expenditure. Then again under revenue, there are two parts, revenue receipts and revenue expenditure. Capital receipts and capital expenditure, like this. Capital and revenue, you know it very well. Capital means long term and revenue means short term. Any expenditure incurred, the benefit of which accrues to the organization, or the benefit derives to the organization for a shorter period of time, maybe less than 1 year, isn't it? Maybe 1 month or 6 months, 3 months, and again we have to spend for the same expenditure, or those expenses will repeatedly come. Those expenditures will repeatedly occur to the business, there is a not for profit organization. Such items are called revenue, because short term in nature, repetitive in nature. Remember, again comes again and again, like honorarium. For this month, current month you have paid, next month again you have to pay honorarium, and the succeeding month again you have to pay honorarium. Isn't it like that? It is continuous one. Rent of the building or rent of the, that's a hall or whatever it is, isn't it? You have to pay repeatedly, every month you have to pay. Then telephone bill or electricity bill, you have to pay every month, isn't it? Otherwise it will be disconnected. So such expenses which are of short term nature, or which gives short term benefit to the business concern, that is less than 1 year, is called revenue expenditure. Likewise, the incomes which comes again and again, repeatedly comes every month or once in 3 months, like that, such incomes are called revenue receipts. And expenditure which is incurred, the benefit of which will come to the business concern for a longer period of time of more than 1 year, maybe 5 years, 10 years, 20 years, isn't it? So such expenditures are called capital expenditure, like purchase of a machinery, purchase of furniture, purchase of books to the library, isn't it? The books can be read for a longer period of time. Purchase of ceiling fan, isn't it? It can be used for a longer period of time, more than 1 year. So such expenses are called capital expenditure. Likewise, capital receipt. They are not recurring in nature, they are not repetitive in nature, isn't it? So such receipts like specific donations, donation for construction of a swimming pool, capital receipt. Legacies that I will explain later, that is also a capital receipt. Okay, this is about the capital receipt, capital expenditure, revenue receipt and revenue expenditure. Then deferred revenue expenditure. One more is there, deferred revenue expenditure. Expenditure. What do you mean by this? An expenditure of heavy nature. Though it is revenue expenditure of heavy nature is called deferred revenue expenditure. Let me give you best example, advertisement. Heavy expenditure spent on advertisement. Heavy expenditure. Maybe like celebrities we are hiring, isn't it? Like you might have seen that Ghadi detergent, that Amitabh Bachchan and one more, that is celebrity, isn't it? Do you think they will do at free of cost? No, they will get. They are paid for that. And hiring a celebrity is not in terms of thousands, lakhs or crores, isn't it? So that expenditure, heavy expenditure, when it is incurred and which gives benefit to the business concern for a longer period of time. Advertisement expenditure, today they have prepared a video and that video can be played for maybe for 5 years, 10 years, can't say like a washing powder Nirma, isn't it? That advertisement lasted for a longer period of time. Maybe I think 15 to 20 years it was there. A small girl with small frock, isn't it? Like that. That is expenditure once incurred that will give you benefit for a longer period of time, and such heavy expenses cannot be included in the period in which those expenses were incurred. Like this year, maybe 2020, we have made one advertisement by spending maybe 5 crore, isn't it? If we show this expense of 5 crore during current year itself, 2020 itself, then what happens? Then the profit of current year gets reduced to that extent. Actually, it is not restricted. The benefit of this 5 crore is not restricted to current year. It may be restricted to a period of maybe 5 years. It will give benefit to the business concern maybe for a more than 5 years term, isn't it? So, as such, we have to apportion this. 5 crore should be debited to profit and loss account for a longer period of time, like 1 crore each every year. 5 years we are getting the benefits, so distribute it into 5 parts and each part debit it during each year. Like 1 crore this year, 1 crore 21, 1 crore 22, like that. Every year you just debit a portion of that expenditure, because the benefit of that expenditure will accrue to the business concern for a longer period of time. So such expenses are called deferred revenue expenditure, because the revenue is deferred. We will get the revenue in future, isn't it? So we apportion those expenditure, and the current year profit is also not suffered much. When you debit 5 crore, your profit gets reduced to the extent of 5 crore. When you debit only 1 crore, your profit gets reduced to the extent of only 1 crore. Which is better? 1 crore is better, isn't it? So that you can show more profit and you can satisfy the members or satisfy the stakeholders. All the stakeholders can be satisfied. So that is about the deferred revenue expenditure. Understood the concept now? Now let us move on to the different, that is special items, that are used, special terms used in not-for-profit organization. There are many items which we take up in not-for-profit organization. Repeatedly we have to take up those things. I will take up that in the next class. Right assignment. Yes, write any 4 distinctions between, receipts and payments account. Write any 4 distinctions between, differences between receipts and payments account and income and expenditure account. Receipts and payments account and income and expenditure account. Submit the assignment on time. Thank you for watching this video. Thank you.
Don't forget to like our video and subscribe our YouTube channel for all the updates.